Greetings all, it's Manda of the Shadowlands again. This time I'm bringing you some Warzone guides. I will be starting with some general tips, so if you want to skip ahead to your particular Warzone, you will see the times posted here.
Southern emplacement lost.
My number one rule in PvP is mark the healers you see and take them out as soon as possible. Now, on the other hand, for your team, if your healer is getting attacked, make sure you try to defend them. I know it really sounds like a no-brainer, but it really is important and can really help your team. My second general tip is regarding your operation chat. Make sure it's somewhere that you can easily see it, and make sure you're watching it, because periodically people who are defending are going to call out incoming. If you are the one defending, it really helps people if you tell people how many are incoming with a number and which side you're on. Yelling help is not going to help anyone. My third tip is regarding the end of the war zones. You will see this window pop up and you will have a chance to vote for an MVP. It's a little trophy cup that appears on the left side of the window. Please do so. Your fellow Warzone players will appreciate it. And my final general tip is damage isn't everything. The goal to these war zones isn't necessarily the damage output you do, it's doing the objectives. For Huttball, that means passing and carrying over the ball. For some others, it may mean that you need to defend a turret. That means you will end up with lower numbers than some people on your team, but that doesn't mean that you are any less helpful overall to winning that war zone. Kicking off the actual Warzone information, we'll start with Huttball because it's one of the oldest Warzones in the game. The objectives for Huttball are pretty simple. Grab the ball, carry it over the opposing team's line. It tells you right when you zone in. It does come with a few interesting challenges, like you'll see this lovely acid pit right in front of me, which I like to use to pull people in and kill them right off the bat. It's very handy. When the game starts, you are given a new icon in order to toss the ball. If you don't have it on your bars, you can look for it in your general abilities tab. It works basically like in AoE. When you use it, a big circle will appear where to land it. As you can see, what you want to do is find someone on your team, hit the ball, toss it to that person. I'm going to use this clip again just as demonstration of ways to get the ball across the goal line. In this case, I notice we have a stealther on the other side, so rather than deal with the obstacles on the bridges above, I'm going to go straight through the pit, toss it to the stealther. He becomes visible just before the ball hits him, goes ahead and scores the goal. As you can hear there, once a goal is scored, the ball does return to the middle. So one general thing to try to keep in mind is it's very handy to have your players in the middle try to control it so you can grab the ball and keep passing forward. Play continues until the clock counts down or until someone scores 6 goals. In the event the timer runs out and both teams are tied, whoever is carrying the ball last will win. This is why at the end you may be asked to hold the ball or to turtle. That just means everyone needs to run together, try to hold the ball, keep the ball carry up as long as possible. As you can see here, I got very lucky as the clock ticked down. I managed to kill the ball carrier. It went to me. We win. And finally, just make sure that you're clicking those MVP votes. Your other PvPers will appreciate it. I do have one final note about Huttball, and that is to make sure that you are using your brain. There are people with the ability to jump to you, so if you are unable to stealth or to go into cover, do not stand at the edge of your goal line because they're going to jump to you and speed over the goal, and you basically just got them a point. So if you see the goal carrier in the pit, don't stand on that ledge because they're going to jump up to you and run in. And another thing is that when the ball carrier is on your side of the line, if you kill him, it's a good idea to just toss the ball away because especially if you're by yourself, you don't have a healer, you die, they get it, they're that much closer to the goal line. So hopefully you have someone at mid, toss it away, you guys get the ball and you can carry forward. Next up is the Void Star. This one is pretty unique compared to all the others in the fact that you will play 2 rounds. Once you will be defending, once you will be on offense. Which side you are when you start is completely random, but whichever you start as, you will play the opposite the next round. SWTOR is all about bottlenecks. If you are on offense, as I am starting in this video, your goal is to plant bombs on 2 different doors. There are 3 sets of doors and then 1 core at the end, so you want to break through the doors as quick as possible. If you are on defense, of course the goal is to keep people from planting. So knockbacks, stuns, pulls, anything you can to keep those people away from planting, it helps. Another tip that I find useful is watch which way people are facing. If they're facing away from the door and you're a stealther, it's a good chance to try to sneak in behind them and plant that bomb. There are additional objectives in the SWTOR, like these consoles. They will open bridges which will allow you to go across and to get to the next set of doors. One thing to keep in mind is to try to go down the center of those bridges because people can knock you off of them. And in fact, I love trying to do it. As you can see, this is pretty straightforward. If you're trying to call out points, I do find that calling left and right, the way you come out your spawn point, is the easiest for your team. However, people do sometimes call east and west. This can be a little bit discombobulating if you aren't watching your map. Once you are in the 3rd section, there are 3 consoles. Those break down those shield walls there, and then again you have 2 doors. This time they are on the north and the eastern walls. But again, if you call left and right, your team will still know which way you're facing. You want to try to get those consoles down, and then you can work on the doors. Jumping ahead again, as soon as you've planted on the final door there, it'll blow and you can just zip on down the hallway and hit the console like I'm about to do. And that'll end it for the SWTOR. Whoever gets to the end console first is the winner. If you don't make it all the way to the end console by the time the timer runs down, it goes by who gets the farthest, quickest. In the course of the event, no one gets past the first set of doors. Whoever has the most kills is supposed to be the winner. That's granted that BioWare actually got it working correctly. I haven't had that happen in a long time. There are 3 main objectives of the all-around Civil War that you need to know about. These are found at the locations that are generally called snow, mid, and grass. These are defense turrets that you can control to take down the opposing team's ship. Generally, you want to try to at least control 2. It is possible to hold 3, but if you hold 1, you will almost certainly lose. This is a war zone that I would say it's pretty critical that you make sure you're marking your healers and taking them down as soon as possible. Not having a healer in this one can be a little bit brutal. As you can see, the Warzone information on the top left of my screen has changed. Now there are 3 turrets. The one on the left for me will be snow, the one in the middle is mid, the one on the right will be grass. When those are green, we are holding them. When they are red, the opposing team has control. That's an easy way to keep track of who has what. The bars tell you how far ahead or behind you are of the other team. The main objective of Civil War is pretty straightforward. You need to hold as many turrets as possible to take down the opposing team's ship. Whoever takes down that ship first is the winner. There is no set time limit. That's all there is to it. Next up is Navarre Coast. With this one again, there are 3 points that you need to control. They're bunkers, and they are located at south, east, and west. When the game starts, the little Warzone information in the upper left-hand corner will be equally divided, half yellow, half purple. That means that they are currently neutral and there is no firing going on. In order to attack the other team's base, you need to hold 2 bunkers. In order to control the bunkers, you need to click on the little consoles that are inside. As you can see from this video, you do not need to be right on top of them. So it does really help if people are distracted to try to cap those consoles so that you can quickly flip them to your team's side. In addition, because of the range, make sure that you are interrupting anyone who is trying to cap. And finally, we have Ancient Hypergates. This is the hack and slash arena, but it does still have some objectives. If you look in the upper left-hand corner, the information for the Warzone has now changed to kind of what looks like an old-fashioned tape recorder with 2 circles on either side and then some information below that. The 2 circles are pylons, which you want to try to control. The scoreboard is below the 2 circles, and to the right of it there is a multiplier which changes with each phase of the war zone. That multiplier is in regards to the players that you kill. So for each phase, that multiplier will keep escalating, so there is always a chance to come back if you can kill enough people. Once your pylon is captured, it will turn green if your team is holding it. It'll be red if the other team is holding it. One word of advice, always have someone on defense and make sure you're watching your operations window so that you can come help, because stealing those pylons is really what'll boost you up over the edge in this game. If you're not defending, your objective becomes to kill the other players and to go into the middle here, and you will see that there are little boxes that spawn orbs above them. Once you capture an orb, take it back to your pylon to earn some extra points. If you see the other team trying to grab an orb, you can interrupt them, and obviously you want to do this to prevent them from scoring the extra points. In this video, you saw that I didn't go all the way in, and that's because the timer went off. You hear this alarm that starts ringing, and that means that the pylons are about to overload. If you are out in the area when that large yellow bubble starts to expand, you will be instantly killed. Another thing is that when you're in the middle here, it is sometimes fun to try to knock out the other players into that yellow so that when the next round starts, you can easily clear the middle so you're in good position to steal the orbs. One final note about the orbs. They do appear on both the mini-map and the big map, so you can see if they are still in the middle or if they're being carried away. I do have just some final advice about ancient hypergates, and that is, when those alarms go off and the big blast comes, make sure that you are either waiting in your spawn point or in the middle. In addition, there are 2 wings that are directly underneath the spawn points, which contain some speed boosts, so if you can get in there, it is a handy way to zip over to the other side to try to steal. And that wraps up this Warzone video. I hope you found it useful. There'll be more coming in the near future.